Hey everyone, this is Manoj Kumar, a content creator who simplifies real estate. Today I'm here to moderate panel discussion. We have amazing panelists here. We're going to have a very short but very insightful conversation with every one of them. First we have Vishal Shubhash. He's the coolest lawyer that I've met. He handles dispute resolution and conflict management. And then we have Aditi. She handles sourcing of channel partners. Her tagline is "Cut me, I bleed real estate." So then my dear friend Anbu, who's an expert in cost management in construction business. So we're going to have a very short panel discussion. So start off with Vishal. We would like to ask, as a conflict management lawyer and dispute resolution lawyer, can you tell us about one thing that is a cause of property disputes in India and how we can avoid them?
Yes. So I've been in legal field for almost 8 to 9 years. So what I've seen is people are there, law is there, judiciary is there. But there is a lot of gap between people and law, which is the lack of legal awareness.
Right.
So this is one of the biggest gap I've seen, and because of this, there's a lot of disputes happening. Because people don't know that they are doing wrong, or they don't know that they should do this right way.
Okay.
So I personally feel lack of legal awareness is one of the biggest problem in India, and it cause of major real estate disputes.
Okay, so more about into mediation. I understood that this gap is there and huge in the industry. Also wanted to ask, why should real estate disputes go into mediation first and not litigation?
Why mediation first? Let's say you have a chest pain.
Right.
You don't cut your heart and go for heart surgery immediately.
Absolutely not.
What we do is, it could be because of acidity. So there are several reasons. First, in mediation, you try to find the reason, and if it's possible, you try to settle it there itself. Because litigation is a process, and it's either he wins, or A wins, or B wins.
Okay.
So it's not always good to go adversarial right away. So if there is a possibility to resolve your dispute early, then nothing better than that.
Okay, so what is the role of mediator in the dispute?
A mediator plays a very significant role. Let's say two of them fight. So mediator helps to facilitate the entire process. Okay, there is a relationship between them. He tries to control it. He tries to facilitate. He tries to identify the interests between the parties. What are they fighting for, and how they can come up with solutions. And right from he handles the entire process.
Okay.
But he's not a judge. He'll not tell you do this and do that. Okay. Because and the best part is the parties themselves they make their own decision. So that is a beautiful part of mediation, and I think everyone should go for mediation first.
I mean, I love that. So can you tell us 3 pieces of advice as a real estate mediator and dispute resolution?
As a dispute resolution lawyer, what I would suggest is, first, any real estate, what should they do is due diligence.
Correct.
Do your basic due diligence so you can avoid disputes. And dispute management is very important. Put your contracts in writing.
So clauses in agreements, rental agreements.
Let's say we have some certain conditions. We put it into writing. That's all. That's a contract. We both agree on something, and that's a contract.
And that awareness should again is the first question, bridge the gap.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And last thing is, which is very few people know, it's something called dispute planning. In case there is a dispute in us, how do we plan to resolve?
Okay.
That's when you bring in your mediation clause.
Okay.
So you don't directly go to court and fight.
Awesome. So you can save time. You can
absolutely save time, save the relationship, man. Because once you go to court, we fight, and it's going to keep on separating. And whereas in mediation, you can still save the relationship. That's a beautiful part of
understood
mediation.
So thank you, Vishal. We'll get back to you in a panel discussion again.
Definitely.
So now we'll move to Aditi. You're a passionate real estate enthusiast. So can you tell us about the challenges in handling channel partners and how we can bridge the gap? Yeah.
Thank you, Manoj. So it's been almost 5 years plus I am in real estate. I've started my career with that only.
Okay.
And 4.5 years or more than that, I am more into this handling channel partners. Since the beginning, now I know. It is a huge task. It's like a mass network you have to handle, and everybody is different. There's a lot of communication gap. So there's a lot of challenges which I face, and I think other builders who are handling sourcing CPs, they're also facing in everyday basis. There's a lack of education, a lot. Not everybody. There are so good channel partners, very professionally organized. They have well researched knowledge. They've learned on their own. But there are so many freshers. If they hire, there's a lack of training. or education center. Let's say ki if somebody is joining an IT company, they'll get a user guideline, there'll be a training, you do intern, then you go to this level. Real estate, there's nothing like that.
So that basic etiquette is missing.
Not there. Professionalism is missing, training part is missing, education is missing. They'll join and you go attend the customers. But there's a lot of background work they'll have to do it before that. So these are one of the major challenges.
Okay, so what is the importance of channel partners in real estate and networking? Because that is more important in especially in our sphere.
Correct. See, in what happens, any department you say for a person, you'll have your personal banker. You'll like trust him so much. He'll send, this bank is good or this. You'll have your wealth management also. You should invest here. Similar thing happens in a real estate. So if you have somebody whom you can trust and they'll guide you where to invest, what to invest, when is the right time, and he can also resell your product or something like that. Because I believe no matter how virtual, artificial intelligence, everything can come, technology will come real estate, but that human interaction part will never go. That part will always be there. So it's always better if you have somebody you can trust and they'll be there throughout the journey, because it's not only one time you'll buy a property. So that 4 years, 5 years, by the time the pre-launch to a construction, after that also you will be touched. So channel partners add a lot of value because they'll be dealing with multiple developers. They'll be knowing what launch, where is coming, when to resell or anything, A to Z part of thing, they can do it. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So lastly, I wanted to talk about women in real estate. We're having an event today.
Correct.
So talk about that and also talk about importance of women in real estate. We know that even though because of stamp duty charges are reduced, a lot of people are registering in women's name, so that is increased, but the percentage of women in real estate according to survey is just 14% in senior roles.
Yes, which is
so
very
what
low.
do you think is important?
Yes. First, I'm so excited to be a part of this women in real estate chapter. This is something, it has never happened in real estate, I feel. There is a CREDI, a lot of members are there, but there's nothing organized or something, for women. There's no community like that, online, offline, nowhere. It is everywhere scattered. So there's no proper community where people can connect, discuss, meet. So this is something which is very exciting, and whichever people have spoke to my personal network, they're like so happy, wow, something like this is happening. So like everybody is so eager to join. And when you meet people, real life experiences, when you learn more, meeting people, discussing problems, that's where it will solve. So this thing is a very good thing, and I'm getting so good response from everybody. Like they're like so excited, wow, and everybody is eager to be a part of this. Secondly, when you see in out of India, US 56% is the female realtors and 40 and change is the main. But when it comes to India, we have we have 50 million male employees versus 7 million female employees, which is very low. And leadership role, it's only 2% of women's in real estate, on leadership roles. But you see now these days the entrepreneurial wave is coming, and I see a lot of female realtors or CRM, let it be construction, architect, every department you'll find them. Although they're less in number, but they're doing amazing. Comparatively, it is tend to see when females are there in leadership role, the company is doing good. There's a natural thing also, and I could see earlier there was a taboo, no, real estate is not very employee friendly, it's not very professional, a lot of families won't approve of. But now over a period of time, it has evolved a lot, it has seen a lot of growth. The only thing is like professionalism, organized, and a proper structure has to be made. And that women can only do it, and I can see a lot of females coming and change the dynamic of real estate. A lot of growth they're seeing throughout the sector.
I can see a passion in your work. I talked to a person who told me, Manoj, this is actually happening in women real estate event. I thought it was a joke. I don't know. Then I saw it is actually happening. I'm more excited to come. And as Women's International Day is coming, it's all about equality.
Correct.
So I'm really happy that WeTalk is starting a women community group. It is high time. So thank you, Aditi.
Thank you so much, Manoj.
Next, let's move on to Anbu. Anbu as an experienced construction cost management business professional. Can you tell us about cost management, how it can add value to construction projects?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I'm happy to hold this. I'm really happy to be part of RETA community. So when it comes to cost management, I'll just term it in this way. In India, if we mostly see most of the families, how do we function? There'll be a monthly budget for us. So we'll make sure whatever is happening for us is there within the budget. Whatever the plan we had done to manage our cost expenses within the budget is met at the month end or not. And if there are any expenses which needs to be done due to some emergencies, how we are going to manage that? If we buy a cost from outside, if we take a loan or something, how are we going to manage that EMIs in the upcoming months? This is how we are used to do in the personal life.
So when an emergency fund.
Exactly, having an emergency fund and making sure you are spending for the right cost. That's a very important thing in the budget. Exactly. That's a very important thing in the families, how Indian communities work. So cost management is something which is very similar, but we do for a project. As you all know, in a project there is a lot of investment is involved. There is a lot which is connected to a lot of ROIs, and how do we make sure like we are spending for the right right item, right package. So all these are eventually part of cost management. So in simple words, we manage the entire cost by measuring it. So I always believe if you need to manage something, you need to measure it. So we measure a project's cost and we manage it. So the real value what we can bring is pure professionalism. As I said, management, to do that we need to measure it. So that is where professionalism is required. We need to follow the standard which is required to be followed in projects, standard which adds value to the project, which adds value to the clients. So those kind of setup comes as part of professionalism, which I honestly believe is the value that what professionals like me or organizations they represent can add value to.
So, but how do we, to move on also to, you were talking about tracking construction cost. So how do we track construction cost, and what are the life cycle stages of cost management?
Okay. So it's very simple. I'll bring another example for this. If we see the parents, they'll have a log of records, which is called as the vaccination records for their kids. So right from day one, what is that they have vaccinated, and till a particular period, they'll maintain a record like what are the vaccinations they are putting, and what is when it is put, whether it is okay or not. All this will be maintained in a ledger. So the reason when there is an emergency comes, the first thing the doctor asks is for a vaccination record to check whether it is done or not. So people like us, what we wanted to do in the construction industry is also something similar to that. We wanted to bring cost management toward the life cycle of a project. Right from the project is in the inception stage, when somebody conceives an idea of bringing a project to the ground, we can able to associate with them and we can tell this is the cost X or cost Y to bring a project A or project B in design. So this can be managed in the upcoming stages, say conceptual stages, schematic stages, and then when it comes to the construction stage, we have a Bible of cost already available with me, which tells very, very clearly which item, what is the cost we are going to spend for what specification, under what design. So the biggest problem in construction is, during construction, it tends to go for evolution. Things will change, specifications will change, items will change, and most importantly, all this change. Why? Because requirement changes. So once when there is a requirement change, all these are going to hit. So if we have a Bible of item which tells me this is the requirement, this is the cost we have given, and when there is a requirement changing, professionals like us can come and do two things. One is validate the cost what you have given compared to the cost what we have already booked on. And second thing is we can also value engineer that so that it doesn't hurt your pocket, but still we'll be able to give you a possible solution or an output which is same to what you have aimed for, with the cost in mind. So this is exactly what we can do in the construction life cycle of how cost management works in the construction life cycle basically.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I mean, that is a lot of insight in cost management. So now let's open up to a panel discussion. I mean, we'll keep it very casual. You can ask questions to anyone about any topic. I'd also like to welcome Musabi to the panel discussion and ask any questions. So yeah, anyone can start off with any question you have to anyone.
Yeah, I have a question to Vishal. It's very basic question, Vishal. Like most of us will have an aim to buy a property or would have bought a property or would have seen how things works there. So basically, like when it comes to property buying, the first thing what we ask for is certain basic documents. And I am 100% sure nobody in this country can really tell, except professionals like you. Common man, nobody can say like these are the set of documents which needs to be bought and who to validate it. So how do we tackle this, or what is the simple thing which you will advise a common man or a layman to understand? See, this is how you need to do. Go to this person, use professional experience like this. If you have any suggestions like that, please tell us.
Simple question, but very important, huh? Yeah.
Simple answer is go to a lawyer. Because everybody can't know the inside legalities. Basic foundation you should know. See, when you buy a property, you should know we have to go for legal due diligence, which is very important. Very simple. Are you buying from the person who is entitled to sell the property? This is the question you need to the legal person will answer. So inside legalities, it is very hard for you to understand, because you need to study law, the other laws. So basic what people need to know is you need to approach. You shouldn't think about you're investing 1 crore and not able to spend 20,000, 25,000 for legal due diligence, and ending up spending lakhs in litigation. Is whose mistake? The person who's buying the
I think he made a very nice point. Right? He said that the person who is selling is entitled to sell it or not. That's a very important thing, I think.
I have a question. How important is agent for everyone to have? I mean, a lot of people are buying without agents or brokers. But how important is to have a good agent or a broker?
I think it is very important because a normal person might not know a lot of detailing. He might, get attracted with the scheme, look and feel, wow, he may spend it. But there's a lot of technical things, legal issues, there are a lot of things which I think a channel partner, because as a builder, they'll have to sell it. They'll only pinpoint the USPs. Great location, sell and all this thing, but there's a lot more behind it. How much appreciation you'll get, how much you can resell, rental and a legal part also. Because every product might have some litigation, might not have, but customers have all the right to verify that. For that, I think we should have a concept of a family realtor. That will be so easy for banking or anything we do, we'll have. So I think a family, they can guide you throughout and they'll know much more than us. And they can help, because in out of India, when you see in every transaction there's a realtor involved, that trust is already there. India we lack a lot, but I think over a period of time we'll have this thing with a lot of game changing thing, with a lot of evolution. Real estate is only getting evolved. A lot of things have come, a lot of things are happening throughout. So I think this can be the future where every transaction they'll have a realtor and there'll be a female realtor concept thing.
Musawir, I mean, we're talking about banking, so I mean, you should share your thoughts.
Yeah.
And I mean,
no, I think I'm good with that. Thank you, guys. I mean, my name is Musawir. I am the founder of Retalk. It's always encouraging to meet up with different set of people. When I started this journey called Retalk, real estate talk, I did not know I'm going to come across so many people. Every time I realized real estate is just about buying and selling. But then once I started meeting people is when I realized it's beyond buying and selling. There's so many factors. We have Vishal who mediates in terms of legal aspect, which is a very important thing. I don't know. I just wanted to ask Vishal, if you have to just give a ballpoint, the amount of litigations in real estate, say out of 100%, what will be the percentile?
it's going to be a big number.
See, India has pending cases in India is close to 5 crores.
Highest.
5 crores. And we need to understand that India is a big population. So possibility of litigations is very huge, very easy. So we need to understand that this is very simple. So how to avoid disputes is something we have to think. So in that real estate, I think is a major chunk. So the 5 crore cases, majority of cases will be in the lower courts, that is the city civil courts.
Correct.
So in that, at least 50 to 60% will be real estate cases related to property, between the family or construction kind of disputes, and so many others. But mostly it is civil in nature.
That's what I realized over a period of time. I think it's good that you made a heads up saying how the market is such large in terms of disputes and things like that. So do you feel, what will be the easiest way other than mediation, what you have, I think you are at the right track. So I see a lot of people who can make a very big career out of this. I think you have chosen a right field to be. Happy that you are part of our network, Retalk. We are very excited to have people like you. Coming back to Anbu, getting back on 2-3 things. Anbu, I would be happy if you could, brief also. What are those basic things? Like I think already Manoj asked you a couple of things, 3 different aspects. But I feel to get real estate literacy on cost management, okay, which is very important, because it's just not about, all our dreams are amazing. We all want to own mansions, luxury, everything. But how easy or difficult? So what factors would you like to put it across to people when he's trying to make a first home buy? What are those checklists? 3-4 points people should remember when they are going to buy their first home.
So apart from the location and details, which is eventually people will look after, the most important thing is in country like us, we don't follow with the history of data. For example, if I wanted to buy something, it's always it's a good practice to check with the benchmark of that nearby locality. So that's a very important thing which I would suggest. Say if I wanted to buy a home or a construct home or to renovate something, all these are related to one thing. You are going to spend money. So when you want to spend money, you want to make sure you're spending money for the right amount which is required in that environment or not. So that can be done only by doing a proper benchmark study of what you're proposing to buy. So I think that's one quality which everybody has to keep as a Bible, or as a keep something as a primary focus at the time of buying a home or renovating something. The cost should be right. And how do you know that? By benchmarking it with reference to that particular locality. So this is what I would suggest.
Aditi, I mean, a quick one to you. I mean, how important is real estate education for a broker?
It is very much, because I face so many problems almost every day. पिछले 4 साल से इतने struggle है, common sense भी missing है. So I think, and it is not their fault. There is nothing organized, scattered सब कुछ है. और ना ही ये, आई थिंक ये रियल एस्टेट डेवलपर और चैनल पार्टनर कंपनी को दे शुड स्टार्ट अ मॉडल, हायर अ ट्रेनर, गिव देम अ कोर्स, एंड इट शुड बी मैंडेटरी दैट यू डू इट, यू गो थ्रू इट 2 times 3 times so that they'll understand. बाकी over a period of time with experience they'll anyways learn, but that basic thing should be there. That will help a lot. Now it is nothing is organized. They just join, and you know, a lot of people learn on their own, make really good. A lot of people go back because they're struggling. It is not their fault because they didn't get that environment, you know, that ecosystem, that professional environment. Okay, that's how you learn and grow. So this is missing, and because of this I think a lot of people are struggling also, and that is the reason बहुत सारे customers को they are having that trust issues with a channel partner. So it's all because they don't have that proper information. Unless and until you don't have a trust, somebody will not buy through you. And there's a lot of taboo also ki if you go through a channel partner, you're paying extra money to them. So there's a lack of education. This thing is there. It is not the customer will be paying to the broker. It is with the developer and a channel partner. It was between them. So customer will get a lot of benefit if you go through them, but provided the realtor should also be, you know, good education. मतलब ऐसा लगता है if I'm buying a property through somebody, that person should know much more than, you know, all my question answer he should have. Correct. So people will have that mindset, and once this thing will start, then only everybody will have that family realtor. You'll have that trust, that transparency. So that is missing, and I think it's very important. It's very high time now, because there are a lot of fresher, a lot of female, a lot of people are entering, and not everybody is sustaining. A lot of people are leaving it, having a bad experience. So this is not what real estate is. We should change this.
Good. I think we have covered most of them, but I always tend to, you know, we have an architect, you know, a young architect who is sitting there, Aabhay. So I'll be happy if you can give some insight about what he feels about Retalk.
So Retalk was the first platform to design and build a platform for all the real estate, all the architects, interior designers, for the contractors, and also for the vendors. This platform also helps us to get connected to various other business directors also. So I joined this platform for the various aspects of getting knowledge of real estate, and as I'm into urban planning, so this platform helps us to bring a lot of knowledge and prosperity also. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Aabhay, and thank you everyone for joining. I mean, it was the first Retalk panel discussion that was held. I mean, learned so much today in such a short span. So thank you everyone for joining.
Last few words. Retalk is a place. We suggest we have our web app, www.retalk.co.in. Retalk stands for Real Estate Talk. Please ensure you log in, create your profile, start your personal journey, and that's how we want to. And we are going to have many more panel discussions on different topics. That's how we are going to take it forward. Thank you. All the best.